So these are the questions that she's gonna ask me. Oh my God, I can't believe this. She's gonna ask me about who's Eddie following on Instagram. I can't. Oh, this professor doesn't. This professor doesn't only grade on the curve. This professor. Go to commercial break. Go to commercial break. Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. I am Raphael and I am here to review part 4 and the final part to the reunion to the real album sales of Potomac. So we start this last part of the reunion with Nicki Minaj being introduced as the guest host for the remainder part 4 of the reunion. And she starts off by looking at Ashley and she's like, so Ashley, you didn't really seem to have a storyline this season. And I'm like, damn, this is how we're starting off already? Can I get comfortable first? Can I go get my snacks? But you know, I'm all here for it. And Ashley, her excuse is, well, Nikki, I had a family this season. That was my storyline. What do you mean I didn't have a storyline? Didn't everybody like seeing Baby Dean and me giving Michael the lap dance? No? No? Well, okay, well, that was my storyline. And Nikki is just not having it. She's just like, yeah, no, I don't buy it, Ashley. I really do feel like you were kind of like Giselle's puppet the entire season. You know, you brought yourself to the cast trip, you know, where they all stayed in that big house and she wasn't there and she only came to start mess for like 2 seconds and then she left. She was just like, you know, I just feel like you went down there to try to get extra camera time by causing havoc and then leaving. And then Ashley is just like, well, no, I didn't really like that all the women were walking on eggshells with each other because I kept hearing different stories of these Wendy rumors with Eddie over and over and over from all the ladies. And I just kind of wanted to have clarification. So I went to the source by asking Wendy and I'm like, Ashley, I would maybe believe what you have to say if you wouldn't have left as soon as you said it. You know, if you would have stayed the entire trip, maybe I could kind of see what you're saying, but you literally went to the trip for less than like, what, a couple of hours, caused a bunch of mess by telling Wendy all of this, and then you left. You packed up all your breast milk, and then you left. Even Candace called you out on it when she saw you in the kitchen. Wendy then jumps to Ashley's defense, and she's like, Nikki, I don't think that Ashley was coming from a malicious place when she was addressing me about my body, about these Eddie rumors. I really don't think so. And I'm like, Wendy, Ashley has you that fooled that you don't think that she's coming from a malicious place? She literally went up to the trip just for a couple of hours just to tell you this and then leave. If she really cared, she would have stayed the entire trip and maybe console you or something, or try to be there for you, or, you know, give you her shoulder to cry on or something, or be there in defense of Robin and Giselle coming at you like that the entire trip. But no, she literally went up to you, asked you all these inappropriate questions or comments and statements, and then left. So I don't know how you don't see it as malicious. And even Nikki told Wendy, Giselle stabbed you in the back. Ashley did it to your face. Yes, she may have disguised it to make it look like she was concerned about you, but she still did the act regardless, and that's what Wendy is not seeing. And then Ashley, she jumps in into defending herself, and she's like, wait, Nikki, I still have to be a part of the group. Like, I still have to show up to film. And Nikki's like, yeah, I understand all that, but it still doesn't beat the point that you did not have any storyline this season, and you just showed up to cause a bunch of mess on the trip. To Wendy, Candace jumps in to defend Ashley, surprisingly, and I already told y'all the reason why I feel like Candace did that is because she probably sees the group of women as like some type of sorority or a sisterhood, where she's like, okay, all 7 of us, we can attack each other. We can say whatever we want to each other verbally all day, all night, but anybody outside of the group, no. You know, so maybe that's why she was sticking up for Ashley, who knows? But then the way she stuck up for Ashley, she was just kind of like, Nikki, I just wanted to say that, Ashley, this isn't gonna stop you from being on the remix of Drive Back, right? Because I was gonna ask you on commercial break if you could be on the remix of my song or maybe my next album. But I just wanted to say that, you know, she had just given birth. In her defense, she had just given birth, and it was 2 weeks into filming. So that's all. But please be on my remix. You could talk to my manager over there. He's the bald guy over there, the one that looks like Mr. Clean, Chris. You could talk to him for any scheduling if you want. But I just wanted to say that about Ashley. Okay, go on, continue questioning. And I'm like, what? Like, Candace, why are you so scared? She was just like so scared of it. She was just talking like this. Same thing for Ashley. I mean, Ashley and Candace both, when they responded to Nikki, they both seemed like scared or as if they were holding back something. Maybe it was in their contract, or maybe Andy told them, you know, off camera, okay, Nikki is gonna grill every single one of you. None of you could say anything back to her or get smart with her or say anything slick, or else you're not gonna be back for next season. Maybe that's it. You know, I don't know. But Nikki, she shut Candace down. She's like, Candace, no. Candace, you know, and even Giselle, I didn't like that Giselle, she pointed at Candace and she was just like, yeah, Nikki, get her, you know, tell her to be quiet. Because I'm like, you see, Candace, again, for the 100th time, Giselle is letting you know that she is not your friend. She is not on your side. She is not going to defend you. And Just like Nikki wanted, Candace shut up and she stayed quiet. And then Miss Embezzled, she jumps in and she's like, well, Nikki, you know, in Ashley's defense, you know, how did she know that the situation was going to escalate like this? And I'm like, Robin, really? Like, you're going to bring cheating rumors and, you know, a conversation about Wendy's body to her the way everybody did, and you're going to just expect her to be fine with that? Even Nikki said it. Robin, really? 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 Like, I was with Nikki on that because, Robin, you were delusional if you thought that Wendy was just going to accept that or accept everybody's criticism and be completely fine with that. And then Nikki moves the conversation over to Robin, and she's like, Robin, I just want to discuss you and Juan's sexual chemistry the entire season. I mean, it was so strong. It was so passionate. I have never seen both of you have such strong sexual chemistry like this before. And I'm like, Nikki, what episode and what season are you watching? Because I'm looking at it like, wait, did I miss something? Like, was there unaired footage that we didn't get to see? Does Nikki have the Real Housewives of Potomac Premium where she gets to see extra episodes beyond what we see? Did Andy upload these episodes that Nikki is talking about on his OnlyFans or something? Because I want to see what sexual chemistry does Juan and Robin have. I mean, if you call Juan driving away in his getaway car away from Robin sexual chemistry, then yeah, they had a lot of that. But I don't see what Nikki was talking about. And you could tell that even Robin was confused. Robin was just sitting there like, yes, sexual chemistry. What the fuck is she talking about? Did she not see him drive away from me on my embezzled factory? Yeah, no, me and Juan, we had to get creative behind our children's back. You know, they had to do virtual learning. So, you know, sexual chemistry. What the fuck? Yeah, so everything was just really nice between me and Juan. You know, he was a basketball player and we kind of just had to rekindle. Just keep talking, Robin. Just keep talking and smiling. We had to just rekindle our chemistry between each other, Nikki. You know what I'm saying? Nikki further questions Robin by asking her, so Robin, what did you mean when you were talking to Giselle and you asked her, oh, are we mad at Ashley? What did you mean by that? Because it seems like you're always up Giselle's ass, or it seems like you're kind of like her puppy, always following her around. So what is that about? And then Robin, BS came out of her mouth because Robin was just like, well, I didn't necessarily mean we are mad at Ashley as in me and Giselle. I meant as in we, the group, are we mad at Ashley? And I'm like, what difference does it make, Robin? Like, either way, it still seems like you're following somebody else's footsteps. And I had to agree with Nikki's side eye because Nikki was just like, the entire time. I'm like, Robin, please, you're not fooling anybody, especially when she was just like, I was drunk. I was drunk, Nikki. I was drunk. Sexual chemistry. I'm still stuck on that one, but yeah, I was drunk. And then Wendy jumped in and she's like, Robin, you were speaking for you and Giselle when you said that we weren't coming on my trip. So what is that about? And then Robin was just like, well, Wendy, we weren't going to come to your cast trip because your invitation was rude and it was shady. So we weren't going to come because of that. And then Wendy, she flipped it on her and she's like, well, your invitation to the Reasonably Delusional podcast event that you and Giselle had, that was rude too. And I still showed up and you were calling me a hater. And then Robin, she was just like, well, really, Wendy, you're complaining over the invitation? What are you doing? Why are you bitching over that? And then Wendy flipped it on her again. I'm telling you, they were both playing Uno at this point. Because Wendy was just like, well, Robin, you're saying that I'm complaining about your invitation, but you're complaining about my invitation. So what is that about? And, Robin, of course, all she could do is just roll her eyes. And I was on Wendy's side with this because, again, you're complaining about her invitation, but your invitation was just as shady. You're complaining about her invitation, but your invitation was a dig at Wendy by calling her a hater, regardless of whatever the cast or Nikki wants to disguise it as. Like, oh, if you shouldn't be bothered if you're not a hater. You shouldn't be bothered if you're not a hater. The fact is that Robin and Giselle knew what they were doing when they put the word hater on the paper, on the flyer of the invitation. Obviously, that was directed at Wendy, specifically because of what was going on around the time of those episodes. So, again, I was on Team Wendy with that. So then Nikki's next question to Robin is, so Robin, are you Giselle's secret lover? And honestly, I'm not sure how I felt about the whole question or the conversation that Nikki was trying to have with the rest of the women about this subject and implying that Robin and Giselle were together simply because they shared a queen-size bed and they were possibly touching, and asking Robin, oh, Robin, what kind of puss are you into? I just felt like the whole conversation was kind of left field and it was kind of inappropriate to ask these type of questions. I mean, imagine if Robin and Giselle were actual, lovers and they were actually together behind the scenes or whatever. Imagine how uncomfortable both of them would have been right in front of Nikki or in front of all these cameras, like, oh, we don't want to reveal this yet to the audience. And again, not implying that they're both together or lesbians or anything, but again, you could take that into consideration. And I just feel like the whole conversation was very forced and very awkward to have. I'm like, okay, we could move on to the next subject, because if this was the husband husbands talking, if all the husbands were out here and Nikki was to ask those questions like, oh, are both of you together or blah, 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 I don't think they will have the same ha 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 conversation where, oh, Robin, you're into me? I'm into you too, Robin. You look good over there. I'm pretty sure that Nikki would question if, for example, if Chris was to tell Wendy's husband, oh, you look handsome today. Nikki would probably be like, oh, wait a minute, that's a little bit suspicious. Wendy, you're just gonna allow that type of behavior to come from your husband? That's very strange. But it could be okay for the women to do it. So again, it just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth simply because leading to the next conversation about Michael and Juan, that didn't do it any justice either. Nikki furthers the conversation on the topic by asking Robin, so Robin, do you think that Ashley's husband, Michael, is attracted to your husband, Juan? And Robin, she just laughs it off and she's like, yeah, I do think so. And then Ashley, she jumps in and she's like, wait a minute, do you mean like attracted to Juan sexually? And then Nikki's like, yeah, sexually. What other type of attraction is there? And Nikki, she's just so closed-minded when it comes to this. Like, she thinks that it just has to be about sexual attraction and not a broader conversation about that. I mean, you could find somebody attractive and not want to be with them sexually in a romantic way, in any type of way. Robin just said that she found you attractive a couple minutes ago and that she would choose you to be with. Does that mean that Robin wants to get with you? No, she just finds you attractive. So I don't get why Nikki has to why she has to continue questioning Michael or Juan about what they mean when they're talking to each other, specifically what Michael means when he says that he finds Juan attractive, and I get it that I poke fun of Michael and Juan's relationship all throughout the season just because I find it hilarious how they play the narrative of like, Juan not really caring about Robin and Michael not really caring about Ashley, and they both kind of just care more about each other. I get that, and I get it. I poke fun of it, but it's never anything much more deeper than that, than what Nikki's trying to make it seem, because Nikki's like, well, I mean, besides saying that he's attracted to him, he's also said that he would suck his dick. So don't you find that a little bit strange and a little bit suspicious? I mean, if it was me, I would find it kind of strange. And again, Nikki, how come you find this strange, but you don't find this strange that you were just having the whole same conversation, but just talking about women a couple minutes ago? So it's okay for women to talk sexually to each other, like, oh yeah, I will be in bed with you, I will do this with you, or yeah, we could have a giant orgy, me, Ashley, Candace, Robin, and Giselle, but the men, they can't talk to each other that way? Why? So that's also what left a bad taste in my mouth. I'm like, Nikki, just drop the conversation. You obviously don't know what you're talking about, or your mind doesn't expand to what the conversation could be about, but you just want to be closed-minded about it, and you just want to she basically wants to tell Robin, you need to tell your husband that he needs to stop that gay shit. That's basically what Nikki wanted Robin to say. Like, she wanted Robin to be like, okay, I'm going to go home after this and tell Juan that he needs to cut off Michael the entire time because what he's saying to him is inappropriate and doesn't fit the standard, male form or male stereotype or whatever that she wants apparently Juan to fit, And again, I do not care if Michael, Ashley, Robin, and Juan all have an agreement of having like a foursome outside of the show and off the cameras. Who cares? Again, we could all poke fun of what their relationship in a cute above the surface type of level way, but who cares if Juan and Michael are really actually together and Robin and Ashley are okay with that? And that's just I'm not saying that they are, but I'm just saying, like, if it was, who cares? If Robin and Ashley are okay with that, who cares? So again, the whole subject, I feel like it should have been dropped quickly, if not sooner than that. So then the next subject that Nikki resurrects from the ground, again for the 100th time, is the whole conversation between Giselle and Ray from years ago, where she basically said in her confessional, oh, Ray is going to be dead and buried before this beauty ever fades. I'm like, why are we bringing this up again? Like, why are we doing this all over again? And then Giselle basically says that she felt hurt when he said that to her, and if she could take it back, she will probably use different words instead of basically saying, he'll be dead, because maybe those words were a little bit harsher than basically telling Ray, what you said about me hurt me. So if I was you, I wouldn't say that to me or about me again, because my beauty's gonna last forever. And then Candace jumps in and she's like, yeah, Giselle, she's trying to work on herself. She's getting better. And then Nikki, she shuts her down completely again. And she's like, whoa, Candy girl, stop it right there. And then Giselle, again, she points her finger at Candace and she's like, see, you better tell her to shut up. I just thought it was so rude. And I'm like, wait, why are we continuing to shut Candace out when everybody else is jumping into conversations and Nikki doesn't tell them to shut up? Why are we only pinpointing Candace? I'm just assuming that Nikki is just not the biggest fan of Candace, especially the way the rest of the reunion holds up. But they move the conversation over to Giselle, constantly throwing shade at Karen for being her age. And of course, Giselle, in her world, she's like, no, I have never said anything about Karen or her age or her being old. I don't know what you're talking about, Nikki. But of course, the editors, they have the receipts. And it was a good handful of receipts of Giselle poking fun of Karen and her age. And Nikki's like, well, I must be watching a whole different show, huh? Because if you never said anything about Karen, then what am I watching? And honestly, Nikki, I want to know the same thing, because I'm still not over you saying that Robin and Juan had this huge sexual chemistry on screen. So yes, you must be watching a whole different show, or at least the uncut version that the audience doesn't get. But then they moved the conversation over, and Karen, she's like, I am 58, which I actually was shocked. I completely forgot that she's 58, because she looks so good. Like, she really does, like, to be 58. And honestly, the whole ageism and the whole conversation about, throwing shade back and forth about, oh, you're old, you're this. The whole cast here looks really, really good for whatever age they look. So, for Giselle to poke fun of Karen or vice versa, I think it's pointless, because both of them look beautiful. So if anything, I will embrace it. Like, yeah, I'm 58. I look good. It is what it is. And Giselle, you can say whatever you want about me, but the audience knows better. Same thing for you, Giselle, whatever age you are. I think Karen said that you're like 5 years away from being 58. Is that true? I don't think it's true, right? I think she was just trying to be shady, because I think Giselle's much younger, but I don't know. Either way, they bring up the whole, I think it was Robin. Robin's just like, yeah, the first season, Karen, you were looking a little rough. You really were. And honestly, in Karen's defense, all the housewives throughout the entire franchise, they all look insane and crazy and just a whole different woman at the beginning on their first season. I mean, everybody, Atlanta, Jersey, everybody. I'm pretty sure Salt Lake City, if they make it up to season 4, 5, 6, we'll look back at season 1 and be like, oh, what were they wearing? Or, et cetera, et cetera. So, in her defense, everybody has this moment that they have to go through. It's almost like initiation. Like, you have to look insane your first season to make it to season 10. And Nikki also added in that she thinks it's corny of another woman to try to downplay another woman on her looks by saying, oh, I think my face looks better than yours. I think my body looks better than yours. I think this and that looks better than yours. And every time she kept adding to the list, Karen just kept saying, it ain't. When it came to Giselle, like, she was just like, yeah, Giselle's body is better than mine. It ain't. Wendy's candles are going to sell better than mine. It ain't. I think Wendy's poster is better than Monique's. It ain't. Like, she was just so quick with it. And then Nikki, she was just so shady. She was just like, okay, who here thinks, let's all talk about Karen and her age. What age do we think that she looks now compared to season 1? And I believe Robin, I think she has said that Karen had looked 58 or something like that at the beginning. And then Candace, I call what Candace said. Candace was just like, oh, I think she looks younger than 50. And then Nikki, she slowly looked over at Karen, and then she looked back at Candace to laugh. Because it's kind of like they connected on what the subtle shade that Candace had threw at Karen. I thought it was a cute moment, especially like Nikki just looking over and her smile. Nikki has a beautiful smile. So when Candace and Nikki saw eye to that, I thought it was cute. And then they resurrect another old subject, Jamal. I'm like, we're on part 4 and we're talking about this man. Why? I didn't understand it. I'm like, why are we talking about Jamal, Nikki? Like, why are we doing this? And basically, we were just talking about how he scammed the church out of all their money. It was basically the whole Mary storyline from Salt Lake City again. Imagine if Mary and Jamal were in cahoots somehow, and somehow they knew each other, and they were both scamming the church out of money. And Nikki's like, oh, no wonder you have that Gucci car. And didn't we just talk about Jamal having like tax problems or tax issues or owing money to the IRS, like on the second part of the reunion or the first part? I know that they were probably watching this reunion like, yep, we got him. So then they decide to take a break, and Nikki gets up and she leaves the stage, but she leaves those pink cards that she had in her hand, the question cards, she leaves them on the table next to Wendy. So as everybody's relaxing, everybody's taking a breather, everybody's taking a moment before Nikki comes back and continues the reunion, Wendy, she takes it upon herself to look at the questions underneath the little cards. And she's just like, oh, hey, Candace, hey, Ashley, tell Michael I said hi. Oh yeah, no, my onion candles, they're sold out completely. No, they're like completely gone. Yeah, they're all gone. Yeah, I'll try to give you one. Yeah. Yeah, Karen, I love your La Dame candles. I just put one on last night. It smells so good. Yeah. Look that way for me for a second. Yeah. Eddie following booty models. What? Yeah, hello, Mia. You're so funny. Yeah, I know. I just told you to shut up a second ago, but like you could tell that Wendy was just so shook at whatever she saw underneath those cars. I'm like, Wendy, why would you continue to drive that narrative of you being insecure? Just take whatever questions Nikki's about to ask you and go with the flow of it. And then Nikki, she comes back, and I guess somebody had informed her that somebody has been rummaging through her questions. And she's like, wait, Karen, I heard that you were going through my questions. And Wendy's like, no, it was me. It was me. And Mia, she jumps in and she's like, oh, so you were trying to cheat on the test, huh? And then Wendy, she just looks so shocked and shook and scared. I mean, she was just like, so then the conversation about salad tossing and teabagging gets brought up, and Nikki asks the women, so does anybody believe that Karen genuinely did not know what those terms meant? And only Candace and Wendy raised their hands. And then Karen, underneath her breath, she was just like, oh yeah, I've never had to work that hard for a man. First of all, Karen, I feel offended. What do you mean by doing that is working hard for a man? What if you genuinely like it? You know, I'm speaking for a friend. Ooh. You know, that's not working hard to keep a man or to be with a man or to win a man over. You know, you could just, you know, enjoy the activity. But regardless, Candace, she's like, yeah, no, I'm gonna wait 25 years to do butt sex. I know Chris was probably throwing the tantrum in the back room like, damn it. And then Nikki, she further questions Karen by telling her, oh, so Karen, you know, I know that the sexual chemistry between you and Ray has also gone up this season. You know, I feel like, you know, you sit on his lap now, even though he looks like he's about to fall over, you know, but I feel like it's there. So what's that about? Do you be grabbing his ass in sex? Like, do you grab his ass? And I'm like, what? But Karen made sure to let us know that her salad is being tossed by Ray, so there's that. Nikki then lands on Mia, and she's telling her how she appreciates seeing her relationship with her mother play out the entire season and how raw and real they were with their relationship and putting it out on display and how it probably helped a lot of people and young girls and mothers, you know, out there who are watching this show. And Mia's like, you know, thank you, I appreciate that. I'm glad that you see it. And then she's also like, Nikki also tells Mia, you know, I know that the comment about your mom telling you that you kind of reminded her of your father, did that kind of bother you? Did it hurt you? And Mia's like, yeah, it bothered me. It did hurt me, but you know, it's her way of dealing with things and she's still recovering from things. And Nikki, she tries to be fake deep about it, and she's just like, you know, yeah, I get it, you know, I understand you, but you know, as a woman, you really have to be strong and really put it out there that you felt hurt and blah blah blah. And I'm like, Nikki, I really do wish that everything that was going on behind the scenes with her and her husbands and how that played out and her behavior in general with other women in the music industry, I wish it could back up what she was telling to Mia here, you know, because I feel like with Nikki, you know, again, I'm a huge fan of her music and stuff, but gotta call a thing a thing. But you know, when it comes to other women, I'm like, you're not really like the best to empower them unless they're like beneath you. So I'm just like, okay, I'll take what you're saying to Mia with a grain of salt. And then they move the conversation to her clitoris, and I'm like, well, what kind of transition is this? Like, okay, I guess we'll just talk about her surgeries. And she's telling Mia, so you know, all your you know, vagina surgeries, your body surgeries, whatever surgeries, does that make the sex any better? Like with you and G, like what's that about? And then she asks her, do they have threesomes with Becky's? Because apparently, well, not apparently, G has admitted that on the trip that he's into white women. Well, Mia is the one that, you know, revealed to us that he likes white women. And she's like, well, which, by the way, this comment was kind of like, huh? What is that supposed to mean, Mia? Mia's just like, yeah, we bring exotic women into the bedroom, women who are real women. And I'm like, what the hell is that supposed to mean? I don't know. That was a little suspicious, Mia. I had to agree with Nikki when she was just like, okay, well, whatever that means. And then she was like, wait, so you bring women into the bedroom to have threesomes. What if, could you bring another guy? And then she was just like, no, absolutely not. And then Nikki, this is where she also became a hypocrite, because Nikki is just like, oh, well, that's not fair. If you're allowed to bring women into the bedroom with your husband, why can you bring another man? No, that's wrong. And I'm like, but you just said the opposite when it came to Michael and Juan and Robin and Ashley, how, you know, it'll be weird that Robin is not taking offense to what, Michael is telling Juan about sucking his dick or whatever. You were just making a bunch of faces and claims on that situation, and now here you want her to be open-minded to have two men in the bedroom. I don't understand it, Nikki. Like, which side do you land on? Are you okay with men being on men or not? So I'm not sure. You're gonna have to pick a side, because you can't tell Robin and Ashley, oh yeah, Michael and Juan, their relationship is a little bit too much for me. I mean, if it was my husband, I would be like, you need to stop. But at the same time, you can't tell Mia, oh, you have to have two men in the bedroom and you need to make that right. So again, Nikki, just, you see, this is why I say that her way of thinking was a little bit too close-minded, which by the way, I completely forgot to bring that up when I mentioned Michael earlier to Ashley. She asked Robin, oh, Robin, does Juan have any other gay friends? I also thought that was shady, and I did not think that she accidentally slipped that out. I think she purposely said that just to take a jab at Ashley, and I'm glad that Ashley was like, wait, what? Michael is not gay. No matter what we think of them, I guess, again, if they are gay, bisexual, whatever, that's on them, and it is what it is. But again, for Nikki to be questioning or saying any of this, stop. And speaking of husbands, Nikki brings up the next subject, which is, would you have married your current husband if he was not financially wealthy or financially stable when you first met him? And is that the new route to go nowadays with dating? And for the most part, everybody's just like, yeah, you should get an older man with money. Why not? And then she sets her eyes on Ashley and she's like, so Ashley, let's talk about you and Michael. So you're attracted to Michael. Like, would you have been with him with or without the money? What is it about him that makes you so attracted to him? And Ashley, she couldn't come up with anything. I mean, she was stumbling. She was just like, well, I met Michael when I was 22, and it was a late day in August, and he's very he's such a good provider, and he's very he's very attractive. He's a good man. I would still be with him without the money. Nikki, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. But she claims that she would still be with Michael regardless of his financial status when he first met her. And if I was Ashley, I would have been like, first of all, Nikki, who are you to question me on if I'm attracted to my own husband or why I'm attracted to him? Look at your own husband. Why did you choose him? Why are you attracted to him, right? But again, they couldn't say anything to her, I'm assuming. But they go on to Karen, and Karen is the only one who I genuinely believe that if Ray had no money to begin with, she would probably still be with him. She says that, when she first met him, that she needed him. That she can't see her life without him. He's basically like her other half. And I believe that. And then they move over to Mia. Mia, I think that would she still be with G if he had no money? Probably. I mean, she claims that she had money prior to him, but he did invest in her businesses. So, I mean, does that sway anything? I don't know. So then the conversation about steak and lobster being served at a strip club or an entertainment establishment gets brought up again. And I'm like, why are we talking about Mia being a stripper again for the 100th time? Nobody told Nikki before she came out to host that we had already went through this part 1 or part 2 of the reunion. Why are we talking about this again? Regardless of whatever Mia wants to identify as, stripper or entertainer, that's her life and that's her choice and that's her past. And it is what it is. I thought it was kind of closed-minded of Candace to say, oh, do strippers have resumes? I'm just like, Candace, you could have just kept that to yourself right then and there. Again, if you want to go to this place that Mia is describing to get a lap dance or to see, performers or entertainers or strippers or whatever Mia wants to identify as perform with their clothes or without their clothes and also have something to eat on the side, it's fine. Nikki then brings up the topic between Mia, Eddie, and Wendy, and then Candace, she chimes in right before Nikki furthers her questioning, and she's like, oh yeah, according to Mia, we should all feel intimidated. We should all be scared of our husbands because of her. And then Giselle, she's like, Candace, can you stop? Can you just let Mia answer? Can you let her talk? And I'm like, damn, Giselle. And Candace, she listened. Even Nikki, she shut Candace down again for what, like the 5th time already, this reunion? And this is only one part of the reunion. She's like, Candace, can you stop? Can you just go backstage and get your projector or something? Like, just be quiet, Candy girl. And I'm like, damn, she just said one little thing. But again, everybody else could jump in, but Nikki's like, so Mia, she brings up the conversation that Mia had with Gordon on Mia telling him, oh yeah, with Wendy's husband, he couldn't even look me in the eye. I mean, he was just so scared or something. It's almost like Wendy's controlling him or something. And you could tell that this was the point where Wendy started getting upset with this specific subject. Because she was just like, well, I mean, you as a married woman, for you to say that about my own husband, that's a shame on you. And Mia's just like, well, I don't really care. And Gordon doesn't really care either because he already knows. And then Wendy, she tries to low blow her by telling her, oh, well, yeah, of course, your husband, he fucks other people in front of you. So of course not, but I care about my husband. And I'm like, damn, Wendy, like, relax. It's not that serious. And this is how you know that she probably is insecure about her own marriage. and Eddie possibly finding Mia attractive or something. It's pretty sad because Wendy is a beautiful woman, but she's letting all her insecurities out when she talks about these type of subjects with Mia specifically. And she's like, I care about my husband, I care about my husband. And you could tell that Wendy was getting pissed and more upset than Mia because she was just like, oh, you're mad, you're mad, you're mad. You know that Wendy had no defense or nothing else to say to Mia, so she had to resort to acting childish by just repeating that over and over and over again. Mia was also getting upset too by telling her to shut up, shut up, shut up. But again, Wendy, she was just being a little, child about it, just saying, oh, you're mad, you're mad, you're mad. I'm like, Wendy, nobody's mad except yourself. So then Nikki asked the infamous question to Wendy, and she's like, so Wendy, was your husband Eddie, was he following a bunch of booty models on Instagram? And Wendy, before she even answered, she was just like, booty models? Booty models, Nikki. I was just cringing the entire time. I'm like, Wendy, what is so funny from what Nikki just asked you? The whole nervous laughter was so uncomfortable to watch. I was cringing the entire time. I was just like, please, go to a commercial break. Go to a commercial break. Let me go to the bathroom. Let me do something. It was just so hard to watch Wendy play it off as if she genuinely found humor in what Nikki was asking her. And I'm like, I know that whole nervous laughter is just for you to prepare some type of BS answer in your head. Like, let me think of something. Let me think of something. Let me promote my candle line. Let me do something. Let me come out with like a 15 wick candle right now in the moment, since Nikki just asked me this really hard question. And then Nikki continues asking her, well, with the article, it said there were screenshots in the article that said that he was following all of these booty models. And then after the article dropped, all of a sudden he wasn't following them. So you have no clue of what happened with that? You don't follow his Instagram, none of that? And then Wendy, according to Wendy, which I feel like she's lying, she was just like, no, I have no idea who he follows or anything. I don't keep track of his social media like that. And I just genuinely feel like she's lying. I mean, it's so sad, y'all, that all season she was at a 10. She was good. And then at the reunion, she just went out so badly. I'm like, yikes. I don't know how you're going to recover from this, or how you portrayed yourself at this reunion, Wendy, because this was just not a good look at all. But again, Wendy says that she didn't get any of her surgeries because of Eddie or because of who he was following or any of that. And I will really hope that it's true, but I don't know, from this little segment right here, I just feel like it wasn't. And it's pretty sad, again, because you see what women have to do, or anybody has to do nowadays in society, just to feel approval from their significant other, or just to feel wanted by somebody else. It's very sad, honestly. So then Nikki moves over to Candace, and she's like, Candace, your mom, she is willing to destroy Chris and trash him publicly on national television for the entire world to see. What do you feel about that? And why has nothing been said about this? I mean, she hasn't been checked. She hasn't been stopped. She's going to continue this until your marriage is done and you're divorced right there on public television. And then Candace, she started getting a little emotional. She started getting teary-eyed, obviously because it's talking about her mom and her husband. And I never thought that I would see the day where I would see Nicki Minaj handing Candace a tissue. I'm like, damn, I've seen it all at this point with the Housewives franchise, because Candace, she starts getting emotional and teary-eyed, and then she's like, can you just hand this tissue over to Candace? And I'm pretty sure if you just whisper to her right now that you'll be on the remix of Drive Back, I'm pretty sure that she'll stop crying. Can you please just do it for us, Nikki? Please? We really don't want to see her cry for the 100th time on this season. Please? And then Nikki, she grabs the tissue. She hands it over to Candace. Candace, she dabs her eyeballs with it. And at this point, all the tissues that Candace has used combined at this reunion has spent more time on stage than Ascala has. If not more time. At this point, they're going to give the napkins a champagne flute for next season before they ever consider Ascala. Candace says that she had to warn Chris in advance that, okay, this episode is coming and my mom said X, Y, and Z, so just be ready for it. And if I was Chris, again, that is just so sad. I mean, just imagine just waiting for an episode to air for everybody to see where your mother-in-law is basically trashing you to everybody behind your own wife's back. Like, that is so sad. And she said that she did check, apparently, allegedly, she did check her mom off screen and, behind the cameras and everything. And she didn't speak to her for a couple of weeks. But just like Nikki said, you have to have some type of boundary. You really have to put your foot down at some point, Candace, or else she's going to continue to do it over and over and over and over again, just like Nikki said. But it seems like Candace hasn't fully developed her backbone against her mother yet. And I get it. It's your mother. You don't want to be harsh. You don't want to be mean. You don't want to hurt her feelings either. The same way you don't want to hurt Chris's feelings. But again, you're choosing one over the other. I mean, you're not even putting them at equal parts or anything. You're not like, let me care about Chris's feelings. Let me care about my mom's feelings. You're only about your mom, your mom, your mom. You don't really care about Chris's feelings. I mean, if you did, you would have put a stop to this a long time ago and stop her from doing all of this on television. And for you to put it on Nikki and say, oh, well, you know, she's not going to hear this from me. She's going to hear it from you. For you to say that, that's also not a valid answer, because at the end of the day, your mom is not going to really care what Nikki has to say. It's you're the one that's going through this hurt and pain in your own marriage and your relationship with your mother, not Nikki. Nikki's gonna collect her check from this reunion. She's gonna leave, and you're still gonna have to face your mom at some point or another. Nikki decides to bring up Candace's song Drive Back, and from this moment of the reunion all the way to the very end was very, very, very uncomfortable and awkward to watch, because she starts off by saying, okay, everybody here, from 1 to 10, how much of a hit did you think the song Drive Back was gonna be? And I'm like, why would you say that? Obviously, they're not gonna answer anything negative except Mia, but that's a given because Candace and Mia have been throwing shade to each other nonstop the entire season and their entire reunion. So when Mia said -2, I did chuckle a bit. I'm like, damn, a -2? Why not a -1? But regardless, everybody, for the most part, they're like, you know, it was okay. We thought it was going to be an okay song. And then this is the part that I did not like. I felt like Nikki was trying to tear Candace apart piece by piece by piece, as little as she could in front of all these cameras to embarrass her. And she was just like, you know, Candace, so how many albums did you sell? I mean, your Deep Space album. How much? I mean, what's the name of your album? And I'm like, so you don't even know the name of her album either. Shady. So then she just continued asking, how many sales did it sold? What are the charting? What's the best charting song? What's the #1 single? Do you have #1 on the Billboard? She was just asking all these questions about charts. And we all know how Nikki is about charts and being #1 and being the best and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, I almost wonder what would happen if Candace, instead of a singer, she was a rapper. How would Nikki react to that? I'm pretty sure that she would probably tear her apart even more, because she was just like, oh yeah, yeah, that's okay. 20,000. You got 20,000 sales? 20,000. 20,000. And you could tell that Candace was just uncomfortable the entire time, like when Nikki kept asking her, so what about this? What about this? What about this? Obviously, Candace don't have all these answers right in front of her, and she had to take out her phone, and everybody was just in awkward silence. Everybody was just like, okay, let's just wait for the answer then, I guess. Come on, Candace, let's get to it. And it was just an awkward silence. It was like an awkward pause as Candace was rummaging through her phone, and Nikki was just there waiting like, okay, give me the answers, as if like Candace has been in the music industry for like 20 years. She is new. So obviously you can't expect too much of her right then and there. You know, it was just ridiculous the way Nikki was treating her. I didn't like that. I'm like, okay, like, we get it. Like her album or her song may not have done the best or whatever, but again, she's just starting off. So what do you expect? Obviously, Nikki, you started off at some point too. So you know, again, it further proves that whole thing about Nikki, of how she is behind the music scene and everything, and how she doesn't want anybody else to be the best. Again, because if Candace was a rapper and she was good to the audience, I'm pretty sure Nikki would not like that. Like, what do you mean Candace is a good rapper? Nobody's better than me. I'm pretty sure that that's how she would take it. So it was pretty sad the way she was treating her. And then she put her on the spot and she was like, wait, so can you sing for us? Can you sing for us? I want to hear you sing Drive Back. And Candace, again, uncomfortable. She was just like, I don't feel like singing. I don't feel like singing that song right now. Because imagine if somebody or some big music person was watching this show and Candace just so happened to fuck up while singing in front of all these cameras, then they're not gonna take her serious. They're like, well, that was your only chance and you fucked it up. Luckily, Candace didn't do a bad job, because if she did, I'm pretty sure that Nikki would have laughed at her and they all would have clowned her online. And she probably wouldn't have been taken serious in the music industry. And her label probably like, Candace, what are you doing? You just fucked up your entire image on this show. What are you doing? Why are you singing like that without any, vocal treatment or any vocal training before singing in front of all these cameras? So maybe that's why Candace didn't want to sing, because she's like, well, I'm nervous. 1, already, because Nicki Minaj, this big iconic person, is in front of me. 2, I don't know who's watching this. 3, I haven't even really trained my voice right here, right then and there. I came here for a reunion. I didn't come here to sing, but apparently to everybody and to Mia, they're like, come on, you're a singer. You're supposed to sing right then and there. And I'm no singer, so I don't know what the rules are in singing. But if Candace didn't feel comfortable, then just leave her alone. Like, I don't know. Luckily, she sang really, really good. And I thought it was pretty okay. I was like, okay, even Mia had to give her props. And, I just want to take a moment to make my own version of the song right now because I feel like I can also be on the remix, Candace, if you're watching this. So everybody, here is Drive Back by Raphael. Boy, you make me want... oh, shit. wait. Boy, you make me wanna come back, even if I have an attitude. Boy, you make me wanna drive back or come back. So what if you don't have a car? Is it, you make me want to walk back, or do you make me want to take the bus back or take the Uber back? But regardless, Candace did good. She also gave us a preview of the song It Ain't Enough, or It Isn't Enough, or something like that. And the video actually looked good. It didn't look low budget. And I also found it funny how she was naked in some of the video. And she was in a bathtub, and she was also, I saw some pussy rubbing, but she's so quick to tell Mia, oh, you're a stripper, you're a prostitute, you're this, you're that, you're this, but you're naked in a music video. But, whatever, it's fine. We can all be this or that. And that was that. And then they took a little break or whatever. Nikki left, and then Chris, Candace's husband, he comes on stage. He is pissed, and I was turned on. I'm like, oh, Chris, press me against the wall. Like, take all your anger out on me. And he's like, yeah, I saw the whole thing. I saw this entire reunion. I didn't like the line of questioning that was going on. This is disgusting. He was just upset. Candace was just like, she grilled all of us. And she kind of did for the most part, except Karen. I feel like she kind of let Karen be safe. But Nikki did grill everybody else. And I saw people's opinions online saying, oh, Nikki's doing the same thing as Andy did, and everybody lets Andy get away with things or whatever. I'm like, no, they also light Andy's ass up on on Twitter every single time he hosts a reunion and he says some stupid shit, and we don't agree with it. So Nikki makes it no difference. If anything, it's probably even worse because she's in the music industry, and look how she's trying to tear apart this other up-and-coming music artist, So I understand what Chris's frustration was. I don't get why people were saying, oh, Chris needs to mind his business. Chris needs to mind his business. Why? That's his wife. Like, if he wants to defend her, why not? Also, Nikki had tweeted, this is some news. Nikki had tweeted saying, oh, Candy Girl's husband, Chris, he needs to sit down somewhere or whatever. And then Chris, he actually replied to Nikki's tweet, and he was like, I don't need to do anything but support my wife. So, there's that. I guess she will not be getting on the remix of Drive Back. So that's that. And, he eventually leaves. He goes away with all the husbands. Nikki comes back, and they all just end everything on a somewhat positive note, if you want to call it that. And that was that. Andy also added in, like, Candace, thank you for answering all those questions. You did great. I know it was really, really hard. And I can only imagine what other type of questions Nikki asked that weren't air, that were probably even more difficult or more harder to answer in front of all these cameras. I'm pretty sure that they had her ask, well, actually, she admitted that they had her ask two questions. One, the booty model picture is with Eddie and Wendy. She tweeted that and said that wasn't her question, that the producers asked her to ask that to Wendy. And the second question was, I believe it was the Giselle and Robin situation, like, speculating if they were lovers or whatever. That wasn't her question either. So that was also partly the producer's fault for asking such a dumb question like that. So that was that. Nikki said, thank you for coming. That was that. Andy came out with shots. He was like, good job on a good season, and that's that. But I have one question, everybody. I have just one question. And I know some of you may not be ready for this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. But did Ascala get a picture with Nicki Minaj? Like, that's all I want to know. Did they just usher her off the stage and was like, okay, you're not allowed to meet Nikki. You're not officially on the cast. Go back to your dressing room and go back home. Or was she allowed to meet Nikki, at least for a nice little hello, a nice little goodbye, maybe a Snapchat or something? Anything? Nothing? I just want to know. And that concludes season 6 of The Real Housewives of Potomac. What did y'all think about this part of the reunion and the whole season as a whole? I mean, like I said, it feels like it just started yesterday and now it came to a complete ending right now. Like, it is crazy. I thought this part of the reunion was, it had its moments here and there. I thought Nikki asked some good questions and some other questions that were just like, okay, you could have kept that to yourself or whatever. And I don't think we should do the whole celebrity thing or letting anybody else host the reunion. I mean, honestly, I feel like Andy, he could retire from being the host of the reunions, to be honest. I feel like a woman will be much better to host the reunion, all of them, all the cities, throughout the entire franchise. I feel like, his time has come. He asks his questions, he has his moments here and there, but I feel like I would like to see a woman ask other women other questions. But, that's just my input on it. Thank you again, everybody who has supported my channel, who has liked, comment, and subscribed through all of my videos this past season. It has been a blast reviewing every single episode. I thought the season was fun. The cast, they were all lovely. Again, they all had their moments here and there. But again, we all tune in to watch them be a mess. And it's okay, again, never take anything personal that any of the women do. It's all for TV and it's all for fun and laughs. And it is what it is. But with that being said, again, y'all, thank you so much for supporting my channel, for supporting me throughout this entire season. And we shall see what comes next, okay? So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Bye, everybody. Bye, y'all. Mwah.